On August 24th, 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius spewed 4 cubic kilometers of molten rock into the atmosphere. The city vanished overnight. Bread remained in the ovens, and wine glasses were left half empty on the tables. This city lay buried underground for nearly 1,700 years, burying not only Pompeii, but at least 3 other cities beneath it, claiming the lives of an estimated 13,000 to 30,000 people in just 19 hours. Before the catastrophe, in 79 AD, Pompeii was a thriving Roman city with a population of about 11,000 to 12,000 people, located just 10 kilometers from Vesuvius, which was then considered an ordinary mountain covered with vineyards and forests, because its last eruption had occurred so long ago, about 1,800 years ago, that even Greek and Roman sources contain no mention of the volcano's activity, and the locals had no idea they were literally living on a powder keg. The city was an important trading center. Goods from all over the Mediterranean passed through its port. It was home to luxurious villas of the Roman nobility, public baths, an amphitheater seating 20,000 spectators, temples, a luparium, a brothel with preserved erotic frescoes, and even its own water supply system with lead pipes. But nature had been sending warning signs. On February 5th, 62 CE, a powerful earthquake measuring about 5 to 6 on the Richter scale damaged the city, destroying many buildings, including the Temple of Jupiter in the Forum. And when the eruption occurred 17 years later, the people of Pompeii had fully recovered from that blow. Many houses were still under construction, and some wealthy families had already left the city for good. In the days leading up to the disaster, there were minor earthquakes, wells dried up, and a strange smell of sulfur appeared. But the Romans did not associate these phenomena with volcanic activity simply because they did not know what a volcano was. The beginning of the eruption. Around 1 p.m. on August 24th, 79, although recent archaeological findings, including a charcoal inscription on the wall of one of the houses dated 16 days before the November kalends, lead some scholars to suggest that the eruption may have occurred on October 24th. A column of ash and pumice about 33 kilometers high erupted from the crater of Vesuvius, which corresponds to the altitude at which modern passenger planes fly. A 17-year-old Pliny the Younger witnessed the event, observing the eruption from the opposite shore of the Gulf of Naples, from the town of Misenum, located 30 kilometers from the volcano. Pliny described the eruption cloud as resembling a Mediterranean pine tree with a characteristic umbrella-shaped crown. It rose upward in a powerful column and then expanded at the top. Today, this type of eruption is called a Plinian eruption, in honor of the young man who described it. Development of the disaster. The first phase of the eruption lasted about 18 hours and consisted of a continuous rain of red-hot pumice fragments ranging in size from a pea to a fist, which fell at a rate of about 15 centimeters per hour, covering the city with a layer several meters thick, breaking through the roofs of houses and blocking doors and windows. Many residents of Pompeii, upon seeing the eruption begin, decided to stay in their homes, believing they could weather the danger by taking shelter under sturdy roofs. But this decision proved fatal for them. Archaeologists found numerous bodies on the upper floors of houses where people had tried to escape the accumulating ash but were buried when the roofs collapsed under the weight of the volcanic material. Most of Pompeii's residents did manage to escape, however. Out of a population of approximately 11,000 to 12,000, about 1,150 bodies have been found, meaning that about 90% of the townspeople were able to evacuate during the first hours of the eruption, when it was still possible to leave the city via roads not yet covered in ash. Pliny the Younger's uncle, Pliny the Elder, set sail for the shores of Pompeii, not only out of scientific curiosity, but also to help people evacuate. However, he died during the rescue operation, presumably from suffocation by volcanic gases or a heart attack. Deadly phase. Around 1 a.m. on August 25th, the second and deadliest phase of the eruption began. The 33-kilometer-high eruption column could no longer support its own weight and collapsed, generating a series of 6 pyroclastic flows, scorching avalanches of gas, ash, and rock debris, moving at speeds of 100 to 300 kilometers per hour at temperatures of 300 to 400 degrees Celsius, from which there is no escape and which kill instantly. The first flow did not reach Pompeii, but the fourth, which occurred around 7:30 a.m. on August 25th, completely engulfed the city, instantly killing all the surviving residents. Herculaneum, which was largely spared from the ashfall due to the wind direction, was destroyed by pyroclastic flows. The first reached the city around 1:30 a.m., when many residents, believing the worst was over, had gathered in the boat sheds along the shore in hopes of being evacuated by sea, and there they were overtaken by a searing cloud that killed them so quickly that the people did not even have time to assume a protective posture. Archaeologists found about 300 skeletons in these hangars, including the skeleton of a pregnant woman and infants. Modern research has shown that the temperature of the pyroclastic flow was so high that the victims' brains instantly boiled, creating pressure inside the skull that caused it to literally explode. This explains why many of the skulls found have characteristic cracks, and why reddish and black mineral deposits were discovered around them, which upon analysis turned out to be the remains of evaporated brain tissue rich in iron. After the disaster. After August 25, 79, Pompeii was buried under a layer of volcanic material 4 to 6 meters thick, while Herculaneum was buried under a 20-meter layer of solidified volcanic mud. These are fundamentally different types of burial that determine the fate of the cities. Pompeii was covered in loose ash and pumice, which facilitated excavations but did not preserve organic matter as well, whereas Herculaneum was flooded with dense pyroclastic rock, which created an almost airtight environment that preserved even wooden structures, papyri, and food. Emperor Titus, who ruled Rome at the time, sent aid to the region and even confiscated the property of those who died without heirs to finance the reconstruction. There were attempts to dig valuables out from under the ash, as evidenced by the tunnels dug by looters shortly after the disaster, but gradually the exact location of the cities was forgotten, and for nearly 1,700 years, Pompeii existed only as vague references in ancient texts. Modern archaeological research is revealing surprising details. Ancient graffiti has been discovered on the walls of houses, including political propaganda, love letters, mathematical calculations, bawdy jokes, and even complaints about poor service in taverns. One inscription reads, "Innkeeper, you sell us water, but you drink wine yourself," which shows just how lively and human this city was. Conclusion. Vesuvius did not settle down after 79 AD. It erupted dozens of times, with the last major eruption occurring in March 1944 during World War II, destroying several villages and damaging American bombers based nearby. And today, about 3 million people live in the volcano's potential danger zone, making Vesuvius one of the most dangerous volcanoes on the planet, constantly monitored by volcanologists. The history of Pompeii is not merely a tale of an ancient catastrophe. It is a unique time machine that has allowed us to glimpse the daily life of a Roman city in unprecedented detail, to see not grand temples and triumphal arches, but ordinary people in the final moments of their ordinary lives. A baker at his oven, mothers clutching their children, lovers, dogs on chains, and this frozen tragedy continues to reveal new secrets nearly 2,000 years after that August midday heat, when the sky over the Bay of Naples darkened with ash, and one of the most well-documented natural disasters of antiquity began.